I'm pleased to be joined by Mike Kelly of SportsLogiq to go over game one with a fine-tooth comb. And Mike, by the time you reach the Stanley Cup Final, I'd imagine both the Bolts and the Habs have poured over game tape to try and get the upper hand on their opponent. And I feel like in game one, we've got to give it to Jon Cooper, who really had a good sense of how to shut down Nick Suzuki's line in particular. Why were they so flustered all game long?
Yeah, that's a really good word to use, I think, Danielle, is flustered. And, going into this series, Philip Deneau had been so good against opposing teams' top lines. 125 minutes he spent against Matthews and Wheeler and Stone, and 1 goal against. So we know we can shut down the big dogs. And Jon Cooper said, I don't want any part of that matchup for game one. I'm not putting you up against Point and Kucherov. So Deneau's line only saw the Point and Kucherov-Palat line for 1 minute in that game. The line matchup that Jon Cooper went with was Nick Suzuki against Braden Point's line, and Tampa Bay absolutely ate the Montreal Canadiens up in that matchup. Just over 6 minutes at 5-on-5, Suzuki's line against Point's line. Quality shots on net from the slot were 3-1 Tampa. Goals were 3-0 Tampa. So when you think about the fact that they got lit up for 3 against the top line, one of the top lines in the league, that's not a matchup Montreal can come back with full time in game 2. Maybe you mix in Kokoniemi's line. Maybe you try to balance it a little more, but that head-to-head did not work for the Montreal Canadiens in game 1.
Yeah, I was going to say, I don't even need your insight to know that that's an area of concern that they probably do not want to go back with. But it wasn't only the turnovers leading to goals that were an issue. It was the extended possessions defending Tampa in their own end. How costly were those to give the Habs an ability to play their own style, their own game?
Yeah, very much so. And, all the talk after game 1 was, the turnovers led to 3 goals. And that was the major story. That should be the major talking point. That's not what I'm really worried about going into game 2 if I'm Montreal. What I'm more worried about, because if you look at 2 of those 3 goals off the rush, kind of fluky. And Montreal's back and in position to defend. And you don't want to give up turnovers that lead to rush chances, obviously. What I'd be really concerned about with Montreal, though, and it didn't bite them in game 1, is how many defensive zone exits they failed on that led to those extended possessions that you talk about. Those D zone exits, Montreal's been really good all playoffs so far. But there were multiple times, especially in the second period, where Tampa's got their bench right beside the offensive zone. They can change guys. Montreal can't. Those are the ones that can really cost you. And there's 3 turnovers in the second period that instead of the puck getting out and spending no time in your end, Montreal got hemmed in for 1 minute and 5 seconds on one sequence, 52 seconds on another one, 34 seconds on another one. You're talking about a lot of extra time where you're in your own end defending. Didn't give up a goal in this game. But man, is that playing with fire against this Tampa Bay Lightning team. If that happens again, if the exits are as poor as they were in game 1, it's really going to bite Montreal. And even if best case scenario, Danielle, it doesn't bite them somehow, you're still not scoring any goals. You're still expending energy in your own end, right? So
you're exhausted.
Exactly. So the turnovers that led to the goals, yes, clean those up. The D zone exits have to be a lot better for Montreal to be competitive.
Well, I'm sure it was a lengthy call between Dom and Luke post-game to figure out what the next steps are to try and get a win in game 2. Thanks a lot, Mike.
Thank you.